Being a motoring journalist in Malaysia is great. There's a lot of perks to this job, but one of the biggest disappointments is we don't really get to keep cars for very long. Some perhaps overnight, some a couple of hours. The usual usually is just 3 days, and some perhaps even a week at most. Okay, it's different than in England where motoring journalists get to keep cars for months and perhaps even a year or two. It's not uncommon. But yeah, Malaysia is just not big enough of a market to warrant such long, testing periods, so to speak. So we can't really tell you a lot of things about how a car feels like over the long term. We can, however, tell you the nicer things about the cars, how they feel when you drive, perhaps even fuel efficiency, and all of those things. Unfortunately, we cannot tell you how a car feels like past a couple of days or past a couple of months unless we go out and buy the car. But we journals don't earn that much. Some of us do, I don't. So the thing is, the best way to actually tell you how a car feels like is to speak to an owner. They are the best people to speak to tell you how a car feels like over the long term. So in this video, I'm again in the Proton X50, and I'm going to speak to two people, current Proton X50 owners, to tell you what they like and perhaps what they do not like about the X50. I mean, we got to keep it fair, right? There are a lot of things about the X50 to like. I mean, it is, after all, a very nice car, at eye level at least. And with prices starting at just about slightly under 85,000, 83,900 ringgit to be exact. But again, I can't really tell you how it feels like over the long term. I'm gonna go pick up a friend of mine, actually a cousin of mine, that has been driving a Perodua Myvi for very long, and just one day something snapped. He didn't even speak to me about it. He didn't even tell me, he didn't tell anybody, and he just went and bought a Proton X50. His name is Jasdeep. Let's go pick him up. So this is Jasdeep, aka Jack. He's my first cousin. He's the youngest member of our family, and he's just bought a Proton X50, as I said earlier. How long ago?
About 5 months ago.
And what's the current mileage?
And the current mileage is about 20k now, guys. It's 20k.
20,000 kms in about 5 months. For your information, the average driver does 20,000 kilometers in a year. A year, bro.
Shit, man.
A year.
That's a...
So yeah, that's got to be. So anyway, why Proton X50? You jumped from a Myvi to a Proton X50. I mean, I remember one day you just told me Kashi had bought the X50.
Yep. So,
what made you decide?
So firstly, as you know, I jumped from the Myvi, which was also a very, very good car. I had no complaints with the car.
Yeah.
So I had to find something which really matched the criteria of the Myvi to be the king of the road and to be really on track with its performance and reliability, you see. So after testing a few cars, such as I would say I even was thinking of the Honda CR-V at first, and
CR-V, okay, totally different segment, but yes, go on.
And I even went as far as thinking of getting something more expensive, like towards a Mazda or what. But after testing the X50 during a test drive, I must say that with one of my best friends who had gotten an X50 as well. Okay, so he had gotten a flagship, and he took me for a test drive once. And I was just very impressed during my first time with the X50, to be very honest. In terms of its first thing that caught my eye, and the thing that which made me to buy it was, of course, it had 4 exhaust pipes at the back. You know,
they look good,
so
right?
So it looked good. And you can't get that anywhere else, you know. You can't find this kind of
small things that matter.
Sporty 4 quadruple quad pipes, right? You call it quad
they look good,
pipes.
like,
Yeah,
they
so
look
that
good,
look
yeah,
good.
yeah.
That look really good on a car which the price of X50 could give me for.
Which variant do you drive?
So I'm driving the X50 Executive.
That's the second.
Yes, that's the second one. Alright, there's two.
You get almost everything that you need also. I mean,
Yes.
of course, we are sitting in the flagship, just for our viewers' information. We are sitting in the flagship, so you get this, the full panoramic roof. You get a bigger infotainment screen. But all these things, I mean, they're nice to have, of course, but they're not really a deal breaker if you don't get it also, right,
Yep,
Sam?
yep.
And you like your X50 right now. So what do you like about it now, the executive?
Alright,
version?
one thing that I would go back to the story during my first test drive just now with my friend.
Okay.
So apart from the quad pipes, the thing that really caught my attention was the pickup.
Huh.
I love the pickup of the X50, Keshi.
Yeah.
Keshi, the X50 pickup is on point. It's on point and it's very, very fast. If you ask me.
177 PS, 253 Newton meters, if I'm not mistaken, lah.
And
It's
I was
not bad.
coming from the Myvi. The Myvi had a very good pickup as well. So I was very afraid to get a car which had a laggy pickup.
You drove the hell out of that. You drove the wheels out of the Myvi. In
Yes.
fact, you had to change the engine. You got a better, more powerful engine, and still you like the pickup of the X50.
Yes, I changed my Myvi engine to the Paso. You see.
Yeah.
So I even whacked on that.
Yeah.
I even whacked on that, and I really needed something to give me the satisfaction of the pickup.
Yeah.
And X50 found me that.
Oh.
So X50 found me that pickup satisfaction. You
It
see,
gave you
of
that,
course, then
yeah.
after the pickup would come in the power, I would say.
Yeah.
Secondly, the power of the X50 is there.
Yeah.
For me, I travel a lot.
Yes.
So as you know, Keshi, I am going up and down KL Ipoh. Is like nothing for me.
Just for viewers' information, both of us are Ipoh boys, right?
Yep.
And we travel we are based in KL, is where we work, cari makan and all. But Ipoh is where our heart is. So we go back to Ipoh every chance we get. In fact, even now, today's a Friday.
Yep.
Jack is just doing me this favor of coming on board for this video, and after this he's going to get back into his X50 and cabut balik to
Cabut
Ipoh.
balik to Ipoh.
Yeah, exactly.
Cabut balik to Ipoh.
So you spend a lot of time on the highway. How is the car like on the highway?
It's comfortable.
Besides the power,
Comfortable.
Yeah.
I must say it's very comfortable.
Yep.
Okay, some people would think that the X50 is squashy, is not so big. I'm a tall guy. I'm a 6-footer.
Yeah.
Just for you all to know, I'm a 6-footer.
Yeah, it's taller than me.
I
Yeah.
sit well in the X50.
Yeah, I'm about 5'11".
Alright.
You're probably about 6'1".
So apart from the power and the pickup, I would say the comfort is there for the X50. The way the seats hug you, the way the steering is beautiful.
Yeah.
You have a nice steering which is not too round.
Yeah.
You have that squarish thing at the bottom.
Yeah.
So that part really gives you the comfort.
Yeah, actually, you like the flat bottom steering wheel.
Yes,
yeah?
it's a very nice steering wheel.
A lot of people don't realize it, but it actually looks good.
And I must say this front console is very well done.
Yeah.
It's very neat, simple. Even you can see this aircon buttons. It's not too much,
Yeah, it's
There's
just-
nothing too much over here.
It's simplistic, lah. It's just like what you said, on point.
On point.
Yeah. It's just nice.
It's nothing too much. You can see even this grey thing. It doesn't look too cheap.
Yeah.
It doesn't look too much.
Yeah.
So they have found that touch. You see.
Yeah.
One thing which Proton didn't have those days.
Yeah.
Those days they didn't used to have this.
Yeah.
But now you can see even the push start is just nicely fitted there. The signals
Yeah,
are good.
correct. Everything. It feels good. Like even when we're driving, there's none of that clatter, buzzing sounds and all.
Yes.
But okay, so as an owner, now that you're into your 5 or 6 months right now,
Yep.
as an owner, how has your ownership experience been?
As an owner, I feel very proud to own the X50.
Yeah.
Everywhere I go, people say, "Oh, kereta baru, macam cantik ya." And people, in fact, I tell you, I got stopped by the cops once. Alright? And of course, I didn't do anything wrong. They were just checking in the roadblock. And they, in fact, stopped to say, to have a chat with me on the X50. Oh, kereta cantik ya. Berapa ini saya dengar ini banyak kereta bagus. Something like that he told to me.
Maybe he's also looking at the X50.
So, in terms of ownership, you get a lot of attention.
Yeah.
When you're driving the X50, you get a lot of attention here and there. And on parts of the reliability when we come to to things like service and so on.
Yeah, how is that? Yeah.
So this reminds you.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm on my third service already now.
Yeah,
I'm already going to 20,000. So on the way here just now, the system reminded me for my third
Service line.
service already.
Yeah.
Alright, so the system also is it reminds you and it keeps you there.
Yeah,
You go to Proton, you do your service, you're
Easy.
done, easy.
Yeah, easy.
So it's okay, and it's in terms of I would say one more part of ownership would be affordability. You see, on this car.
Yeah.
So the price tag on this car got me my final decision. You see, to get this car.
I think you made a good decision, and
because
I just like to point out one thing also. I mean, I'm basically his elder brother, so it's a good car to grow into as well as a young executive. He's doing really well, by the way.
Thank you, Rishi, thank you.
So, as a young executive growing up, if you're single, now you get married, you have kids, it's a car that can evolve with you as you're going through the journey of life, right?
Correct.
So it's not something that, if for example in your Myvi, you get married in a couple of months,
no
you have
way.
a kid, there's no way.
No
I mean,
way,
of course
no
there are
way.
people that do that, but
you won't get that comfort, that pride, that feeling of driving.
And also you got to give it to the X50 that the safety features that it has. It can put a lot of more expensive cars to shame.
Yes.
So I think you get a lot of value for money.
Yep.
Alright guys, I need to let this guy go because he has to balik to Ipoh. He's got about a 220km journey ahead of me. However, tomorrow I'm speaking to another X50 owner who also recently bought her car, it's a she, to give us a different perspective about the ownership experience of the Proton X50. I'll be right back. Alright, so it's a wet Saturday morning and I'm about to go pick up my second owner of the Proton X50 to interview. And she's a bit of a legend herself, especially in the motorcycling community. All you track day junkies will recognize her. So she's going to give a different perspective from what we saw from my cousin Jasdeep. But while I'm on the way, I thought let's just talk about the Proton X50 a little bit. It is undoubtedly a sales success. Of course, I do not have the full final sales figure in my hand at the moment, but judging by the sheer volume of the X50s on the road, we know that it's doing well. And with prices starting from 83 plus, it's just a no-brainer, to be honest, because as compared to its competitors, it's not only cheaper, but it also does everything the competitors do, and it offers savings. So that's sort of like the holy grail of automotive sales, isn't it? Besides all of that, it also has all the features that you would want on a day-to-day basis, adaptive cruise control, basically everything. And even in terms of safety technologies, blind spot monitoring system, the complete ADAS safety suite. So it basically is a no-brainer that the X50 has done well. We of course need an owner to tell us how it has been over the past, having owned it over the past couple of months or years, because they gave a different perspective, as I've already said earlier. And now we're about to go hear from Shireen herself. Let's do this. So this is it, guys. The legend herself, Shireen. Thank you so much for taking your time out this beautiful Saturday morning to be with us. So your Proton X50. How long have you been driving it?
1 month. Exactly 1 month today.
Exactly
1 month today. Yep.
And actually, what made you buy a Proton X50? You're saying earlier about your friends?
Okay, so I had a compact car previously,
Okay.
and then I was toying with the idea of upgrading from a compact car to a mid-sized family car,
Okay.
because I'm always traveling with my parents,
Okay.
and we always go back to Penang every 2 weeks or at least every month. So I needed to make sure that I need to make sure that the next car is something that is slightly bigger,
Okay.
and at the right price point that I can afford,
Yeah.
and with all the functions that I need, especially on the space.
So you mentioned that you were coming from a Proton IV.
Yep.
And that you've always traded for a new Myvi.
Yes.
And but this, I guess, checks all your boxes in terms of features and in terms of the size of the car, and you spend a lot of time on the road as well.
Yes.
So now that you've spent a month with your car, what's your mileage like?
I just clocked 3,800 kilometers in my first month. Yeah, I did my service on the 4th day. First service on the 4th day
Fourth
driving.
day itself. So
Yes.
so what, in 4 days you did 1,000 k.
1,000 k. Yes.
Where do you go?
Because the car was from Penang.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
So
so
that was
KL to
400
Penang, that's
km
400 km
there
already.
already,
Yeah.
Oh,
So in
right.
3 days I drove another 400 kilometers.
Amazing. So just as I mentioned, all you superbike track day junkies will probably recognize Shireen. So what Shireen does is she spends a lot of time in Sepang organizing track days for bikers. Hugely popular, hugely successful as well. So in that sense, Shireen, what made you choose the X50?
In that sense, okay, so when I do events, I've got a lot of equipments,
Okay.
and we're a very lean team.
Okay.
So we don't have a premise where we keep our event stuff. So it's always it's just in my house.
Okay.
So I need to make sure that the seats are collapsible,
Okay.
so that we can put all these tires that we sell, or products that we work with other brands. So this car is just the right fit for work as well.
So it's not just space for family, but it's space to run your business as well.
That's right.
So it I guess it's a lifestyle partner, so to speak.
That's right. Yeah, you're right.
Besides the space, anything else that you really like about the X50?
I think the petrol consumption is
Okay.
still all right for
Okay.
me,
Okay.
because when I was scouting, or when I was looking around at other brands,
Okay.
so I'm not a car person. I don't really know much about technical.
Okay.
So when I go to a sales showroom, or if I talk to a salesperson,
Okay.
I only go straight, okay, how much do I pay for a full tank? So
Okay.
from there, I would know, okay, I'm going to spend this much if I need to cover this amount of mileage.
Okay.
So it would take me like 80 ringgit to get to Penang. So that's
okay.
how I do my calculation in my brain.
Yeah. So it's all about dollars and cents.
It's all
lah.
about dollars and
Which is,
cents.
I'm sure you're not alone. All of us think about that.
Yes, yeah.
How far can a car take us?
Correct.
Which actually not bad. The Proton X50, if it is a 3-cylinder engine, I mean, just for everybody's knowledge, we have a range right now of about 539 kilometers, and we have a full tank, which basically can take you to Penang, lah.
Yes,
Right?
yeah.
Probably not back. But
Not bad, but
Yeah.
it takes me to Penang, and then we can do probably one full round of the island,
Yeah,
and then only you need to
Don't
refuel.
refuel.
Yes,
So,
yeah.
So that's actually quite interesting. But besides all of that, you obviously spend a lot of time on the road. Like right now, we're on the dash highway. We're doing about 90 kilometers per hour. What I really like about the car is that we are talking to each other without really raising our voices.
Yes.
So refinement
Yeah.
is actually quite impressive. Is that something that you appreciate?
Yes, I do, because when I travel, it's always with my parents. So they always wanna discuss. Okay, so where are we gonna do in Penang this trip? They will, because I don't meet them as often as I wish. So that's where we catch up on things.
Okay.
We go out for dinner once in a while.
Okay.
So the journey is always something that I would want to cherish and have great memories in a car.
Right.
Yeah.
So how has your ownership experience been? I mean, I know it's only been 1 month, but obviously mileage is already racked up, so to speak, and you've already done your first service. How has your ownership experience been?
So from the very beginning, from getting the car, and then it has been very smooth because I got the car within a week after I inquired from the salesperson in Penang. So fortunately, they had a flagship variant ready stock. So and then the loan application was very smooth, and they even offered to send it over to KL. But no, I just love driving, so I flew to Penang and then pick up the car myself, and then the customer service is quite impressive because they made sure that have you arrived in Penang? Is everything okay? Did you have any problem with the car throughout the journey from Penang to KL? So all of that, within the first 24 hours from getting the car.
Which is actually quite impressive, lah.
That's right.
You don't get a lot of sales people that do that.
Correct.
So full credit to Proton there, of course. Anything that particularly irritates you about the car?
Just the amount of sensors that's prompted, which is not a huge problem.
Not a deal breaker, lah.
Not a deal breaker at all. Yeah, because it's for safety.
Yeah, that's true. So when you were making your purchase decision, what were some other cars that you were considering?
I was looking at Honda, and then I also found out that Proton is about to come out with something similar, in the same segment. But I just couldn't wait. So it was also the timing issue. Yeah,
makes sense. And basically, I guess the X50 is a lifestyle partner for you, obviously, and it's a car that you will live with. Earlier, while we were talking, you mentioned that you stick with your cars for the next 5 years or so.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
And so it's a really high mileage car from your side. So besides Honda, besides Myvi, I think the Proton X50 should be able to, I think, meet all your expectations for the next 5, maybe 7 years.
Yes.
Do you think?
Yes, definitely.
Okay, there you have it, guys. You heard it from two owners of the Proton X50. Both spend a lot of time with their cars. Shireen over here practically lives out of a car since she runs a business as well as
in corporate life.
Manages a corporate life as well as her own business. So thank you, Shireen. I'm going to let you go. I know you have a track day tonight.
Yes.
So it's probably going to be a busy, long day for you. We motoring journals, we drive some really nice cars, but because we don't get to keep the cars for very often, speaking to owners gives a different perspective to our reviews, and this is something that I guess that we're going to continue to do more often. Not only drive cars and review cars and tell you what's great and what's not so great, but to actually listen to owners, because they always have a different perspective. These are the people that drive cars for the next couple of months. So yeah, it's something that we're going to continue to do. Thank you for watching, and if we have your attention up to this point, as always, do consider subscribing.